In this episode, I spoke with Steve all about love, dating, friend zones, and what to do when you have that feeling that your partner isn't that mentally healthy. So I will read his bio aloud, and this is an episode that is really valuable to show it to your teenage sons because it has practical, down-to-earth advice from Steve. So growing up, Steve felt like he was more sensitive, introspective, and empathetic than many of the other males in his life. As a boy, he always felt different and he didn't quite fit in with the other boys. And 6 years ago, Steve read the book The Highly Sensitive Person by Dr. Elaine Aron, and he discovered that he had the genetic trait of high sensitivity. Since then, Steve has continued to explore and learn how to manage his high sensitivity, and now dedicates his time to reaching out to other highly sensitive people through his podcast. And his podcast is named The Hsp Experience, and through an online community forum for HSPs at thehspexperience.com. So have fun. Here is Steve.
The first thing I would like to really just get out there is it's okay not to date. Like, it's okay to take a break. Like, one thing when I was younger, and I always felt bad if I didn't have a girlfriend or if I was dating, I felt like it reflected on me like I was inadequate as a man, because I'd see my non-HSP like friends, they were like chronically in relationships, and so I thought that's what a man was supposed to do. Like, you can't be single. Like, there was something wrong with me. So then I would try to date, and I would attract like the wrong type of women, or, I was insecure. There was a lot of mistakes along the way. So what I ended up doing, I was actually, I was married for 10 years. So, but that marriage didn't work out because we weren't really that compatible in the end. I really didn't know myself. So I'll get into that in a little bit. But my first kind of like suggestion is, as an HSP man, don't compare yourself to other to non-HSP men. Like, we're different. We're only 20% of the population. I'm an INFP. That's my MBTI type. And it's only INFP men are only 1% of the population. So I'm really like a fish out of water.
Yeah.
But so
just a lot.
Yeah. So we're like a rare type, if we, even just HSP men in general. Like I said, 20%.
We're already dating in kindergarten. So.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Well, I've always been friends with women, so that might maybe be a good segue. Like, my best friends when I was a kid were girls a lot of the time. So, but that actually kind of feeds into the friend zone dynamic when I got older.
Yeah, even in kindergarten. So let's go see your photo.
Okay.
So here. And this was kindergarten?
I think that was, I'm not 100% sure actually. That might have been, kindergarten or first grade, something about that time. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember taking that picture, but I can't remember the grade actually 100%, but I remember wearing that shirt.
Yeah.
I don't remember my hair being so weird.
That's lovely.
Thanks.
It's not weird.
I don't know what the haircut is. It's like I didn't even try to comb it.
Probably they did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no.
So I was
I was 4.
Yeah, I remember being sensitive back then. Like, yeah, it was interesting. I didn't know what it was at the time, though. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you were already playing with girls in kindergarten more than.
Yeah. It's interesting. Yeah. I always had a lot of girls for friends because I think I appreciated their, like, we would sit around and talk. I would have my friends that were boys and we would like, wrestle, we would do boy stuff, but I always had like girls that were friends because sometimes we just sit around like under a tree and talk because I've always liked how girls and women now tend to like to talk about like thoughts and feelings and emotions, and I've always liked that too. Yeah, so I've always had lots of women friends and girlfriends or friends that are girls. Yeah, and whereas some of my other friends that were boys would, they just didn't really, they just wanted to hang out with the boys. They didn't really see the value in like hanging out with girls. I don't know, but I always thought, they were cool. They was fun. Yeah. Interesting.
They are cool.
Super nice. Yeah. They always had good, I like their energy. Like they weren't mean. Like the other boys could be very mean. They could be bullies, but the girls were always nice to me, for the most part. Like, I don't know. I always just felt we had like similar energies on some level.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And not just because they're INFJ or P or.
Yeah. Well, I think what it is if we talk about like feminine and like more masculine energy, like since I'm an INFP Myers-Briggs type, we tend to be okay in our more feminine energy. Like, and that, like, I love to sit around and talk about, like I said, like feelings, emotions. I'm not super aggressive. I like to make peace. I'm a peacemaker. Those tend to be a lot of traits that I have in common with like the most like sensitive type women. Like I'm not an aggressive type guy. So, so our energies would match up. Yeah. Like I'm not really super competitive. I don't care. And not that all women are, like, there's competitive women and stuff too. I'm not trying to, put anybody in roles, but there's like a spectrum of kind of energy. And yeah, I tend to have always liked the more feminine energy. It's just comfortable. It's like compassionate. It's empathetic. It's like really a comfortable place to be. And the energy is good to be around. Yeah.
Yeah. It's nice to hear that you still have the same fascination to sit under a tree and talk to the girls, and what you're doing now in a different way on podcasts, which are amazing. People really check it out. It's wonderful that you're still doing that but in a different way.
Yeah. Right. What I do now with the podcast, I try to kind of do what we're doing here today, is like kind of share my experience and break like stereotypes about men in general. Like there's a myth out there that I've run into, is like guys cannot be friends with women. Like guys are only with women for like one thing. And that's not true. Like sensitive guys my two best friends are women. They're INFJ women, and they are the funniest, coolest women or people I know. And then I have a couple male friends too, but, and it's platonic. Like we're just friends. And people, even women that have been sort of conditioned to believe that lie too, they don't believe me. They're like, yeah, right, Steve, sure, you guys are just friends. It's like, no, we're just friends. It's possible. So like, that's what I'm trying to put out into the world, is like, the highly sensitive experience is different. Maybe in the non-HSP world, they can't be friends, but in our world, we can all be friends, men and women. It doesn't matter what gender. Yeah. So that's just one example, is just, I try to put out reality and not, conditioned, stereotypical kind of things, like roles that men have and that kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So how do other women react when they're in a relationship with you, and you have all female best friends?
Well, yeah, well, I have a girlfriend now, and that actually, we had to kind of work through that because but I don't blame her because she has never been with a highly sensitive man before. So she's used to, so like if we look at like our type, our psychology, like highly sensitive men tend to be very empathetic, honest. We don't cheat. We're like highly moral because of our empathy. We don't want to hurt anyone. Well, the opposite end of us would be like the narcissistic personality type. So, and those guys tend to really go around dating a lot of women, cheating, they're all the things that come with narcissism, right? So she had been in a lot of those type of relationships. So of course, like she had been cheated on before. Like if a narcissist has a bunch of women friends, you definitely know he's probably trying to sleep with them. So when she met me, I had to kind of help her see like, no, we're different. I'm not like that. Like we're just friends. These are really cool, highly sensitive women. I only hang out with HSPs. Like all my friends are HSPs. Well, I have a one guy friend that's not, but yeah, and we all just kind of hang together. So I kind of had to like talk her through that. Like, no, I've been friends with these people forever, that kind of thing. But people aren't used to it because, again, we're rare. People don't run into us, that often. So she's cool with it now, though. She's fine with it. Like, she had to kind of just trust me and, that kind of thing and get to know me. And now she's like, oh, it's fine. But, we get conditioned out there because most of the world's not sensitive. Right. So, yeah, it's easy to just think all guys are the same or all women are the same. And it's like, we're not, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm telling my sons that they are already complete just the way they are, and that you don't need somebody else to be complete in your life.
100%.
Because that person is there for a certain part of your life. What's your take on this?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, one of the things that I wanted to share today is kind of about like the whole dating thing. Like it's okay not to date, or if you're a HSP boy or man, that it's thinking the relationship will like fulfill you, or not fulfill you, but complete you in some way. It won't fill in the gaps or the areas of like self-love deficits. Like we have to fall in love with ourselves first. Like that's the first person we have to fall in love with. And that took me a long time to figure out. I thought I was less than, or if I didn't have a relationship, I would compare myself to other people that were in relationships. And yeah, that's really one of the messages I want to get out is before anybody even tries to start dating, we have to make sure we love ourselves and we accept ourselves, and we have a center, like a strong center. We accept our sensitivity, and then date from that place of like self-acceptance, and knowing that if the relationship doesn't work out, you go back to your self, your place of self-love. It's not like it's you're less than.
Yeah,
you're still complete. Yeah. That's great. You're teaching your boys that. Yeah. You have, how many sons do you have?
Two.
Oh, two. Okay. I have a brother. Yeah. It's funny. He's not HSP though. I got the trait and he didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So how did you learn that? Because you said I had to find out, but how?
Well, I was attracting the wrong type of women. So one of the things that we have to watch out for as highly sensitive men and women is we tend to attract people with a lot of trauma because we have so much empathy. We attract people that, have like trauma and unresolved issues. And we can have those too. Actually, a lot of us do, especially growing up. We collect, because we're so sensitive, we kind of collect a lot of trauma along the way. But I was I was attracting like people with like narcissistic personality disorder, that type of thing, where they were unhealthy and toxic, and they were actually,
You need to save them.
yeah, save them. And they would like use up all my energy trying to, yeah, fix them. Or but it also in a weird way gave me a sense of purpose, because I thought, wow, this person needs me, you know. So there's this concept of like codependency. So I was kind of codependent in a weird way. Like fixing them gave me value. This is like years ago, before I really accepted myself and had more self-love. So it was kind of this weird toxic relationship. And those people, though, the problem with people with like narcissistic personality disorder or even borderline personality disorder, they tend to gaslight and be deceptive, or they're kind of abusive in a way. Like, so I was always thought something was wrong with me, because I would try my best, but it was never good enough. And it was all this crazy stuff. And I started to think like, well, all women are like this, you know, why are these relationships so hard? And they put me down. They didn't build me up. In fact, the relationships would kind of make me feel worse about myself. And so that's when I started figuring out like, it's part of me. I'm part of the problem. Like I need to work on Steve and get self-love, so I have better boundaries and I don't attract people like that. So yeah, it took me a long time. So that's why I stopped dating. I was like, you know what? I think I'm just going to take a break and work on me. And the weird thing is, I was willing to be single for the rest of my life, actually, especially after my marriage ended. I thought, well, I think I'm done. But I was just like, I just really wanted to work on me. Like I discovered I was highly sensitive at the end of my divorce. So I really wanted to explore this whole thing. But as I did that, I started to heal, started to care less of what people thought of me. Like I kind of owned who I was. And ironically, that made me more attractive to healthy women, because I wasn't needy, and I had a sense of purpose and a sense of self. And that was attractive to like stronger, more healthy women. And that's how I met my girlfriend. Like, so that's why I tell HSP guys, if you're not attracting women at all, or you're attracting the wrong type of women, you might want to take a break and work on yourself. But don't like blame women. You know, there's great, cool, awesome women out there. Like my girlfriend is an HSP. She's an empath. She's an INFP as well. And I never thought a relationship could be so fulfilling and so like nurturing. It's like everything I ever like thought a relationship could be, but I never thought it was. I was getting cynical there for a while. But once I kind of fixed myself, the energy I was putting out into the world was attracting a higher quality person. Yeah. But it started with me. So, but also I didn't beat myself up though, because a lot of my deficiencies or dysfunctions were put there in childhood. So it wasn't like I was a bad person. But I did need to work on myself. But because like I said, I think a lot of highly sensitive kids, you know, they're so sensitive. Just even a little bit of abuse or neglect, or just teasing that non-sensitive kids might brush off, we'll hold on to that for like 25 years. You know, we'll feel that energy for years. Like, yeah, I've always had kind of low self-esteem, I was a self-critic. I thought something was wrong with me, but now I realize I'm just different in a good way. In fact, I feel like HSP men and women we're the prizes. Like I've been with a highly sensitive woman is like the best thing that's ever happened to me. And she loves me just as much. So we always seem to turn our criticism inward. It seems like, especially HSPs, it's like, well, it's the opposite. We're like the cool ones, you know, as a community, we need to like realize that like what we bring to the world is super valuable. So yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much for saying that. It's
Yeah.
wonderful that you share this, because now the young sensitive males can listen to this interview and hear the practical do's and don'ts, because you've been through it all. And yeah, can you give us more examples? Or
Sure. Well, I could talk really quick about like just some of the thoughts I changed about myself. Like um, don't see your high sensitivity as weakness. It's actually a superpower. Like we have this intuition that we can pick up on nuances. We're creative, but anything different will be judged and teased. And so, like, I wasn't really bullied a lot as a kid, but I was definitely made fun of. I got called weird a lot. You know, when people call you weird a lot, you start to feel weird. I thought I was weird, and then in a bad way. But now I just see that they didn't get me. You know, so the idea, though, the place I feel like the goal of all HSPs, especially highly sensitive men and women, is to be comfortable in your own skin. Like, if you have a lot of anxiety or depression, self-critical voice, that needs to be addressed before you should ever think about dating or anything. And we can get there. It's like we have to own our sensitivity. But once we're comfortable in our own skin and we like ourselves, that is attractive to people. And what I've realized is the right people will kind of show up. Like I don't really go out and date. I don't use dating apps. I don't go to bars. I don't go to clubs. There's nothing wrong with that, but those not really the right energy for highly sensitive people typically. My thing is pursue your purposes and passions and try to put your best self into the world, and the right people will find you. That's how my girlfriend and I met. She heard the podcast and sent me a message, not even just to say thanks. It wasn't even like flirting or anything. It was just it started off super, just she liked something I had said. Then we started talking, and now we're in a relationship. But it was me putting my manifesting into the world, like something that I was passionate about, I cared about. I was using my HSP traits to try to help others. So I was just doing my thing, and other people, she found it attractive. So I try to tell guys is like, don't try to just date and pursue women, pursue your passions and try to be the best version of yourself, and the right people will show up. Yeah. That's yeah. Like, cause we're here for a reason. HSPs, like I really believe a highly sensitive person that's not like on their purpose as far as being altruistic and helping be that empathetic energy in the world is going to be a depressed HSP, right? There's nothing worse than seeing an HSP that's not exercising their gifts in some way, or being creative, whatever, they tend to be depressed. Once we can kind of, use our high sensitivity in the world in a positive way, that makes us happy and gives us energy. Yeah. So, but being comfortable in your own skin is the goal. Like, to the extent we can like ourselves.
And kindness is not weakness.
Absolutely. Yeah. Kindness is not weakness. It's okay to show emotion and be empathetic. That's another thing, I tried to always hide my emotions. There's like, I don't know, I remember like when I was younger, like the boys would sit around and they might all be picking on one other kid or gossiping about, I don't know, being mean. And I would feel this pressure to participate, but I didn't want to. I always wanted to save the kid that was getting picked on. It's like, but there's so much pressure to conform to these non-sensitive stereotypes as men. I feel like that's changing, but it's still slow. Yeah. But I feel like the world's a little more accepting of a little bit of variation between, what like masculinity looks like and that kind of thing. Yeah. But the place that the best place to be is not to care. Like if a person just can be their sensitive self, like I'm pretty much at that point in my life now where I don't even care what people think anymore. I'm a sensitive man in the world, and if you like me, great. If not, I don't care. But it took me a while to get there. I wanted people to like me, that kind of thing. But I don't even care anymore. But it took me a while to get to that place. Yeah.
What was the magnitude of and the impact of of coming to that place? How did it change your life? That you thought, well, you don't have to like me.
I got tired of conforming to other people's paradigms and expectations of what I should do. Like, it was kind of just like, just going my own way, like making my own choices. But because one thing I realized is not other people's ideas of what was best for me wasn't what was best for me. Like, it took me a while to figure out, like, I know what's best for me, intuitively, like, there's so many ways people try to get us to conform. And as a sensitive person, like, we want to play by the rules, and, we don't, but sometimes the rules are not right, or they're too constraining, or, I've made a lot of changes in my life because, like, I used to be in a certain religion for years that I finally realized was actually hurting me. It was toxic for me, and I left it. But that really made a lot of people in my life angry, because they're like, how can you leave this religion? But it was the best thing I ever did. I'm free. I'm happier. So that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. Sometimes you have to realize, I got to go my own way here, and my intuition's telling me to go this way. And I don't, if people aren't going to like it, but breaking free of other people's paradigms that they put on you is part of the individuation process that they talk about in psychology. But yeah, it's like finding who you are in the world and not apologizing for it. Yeah. But having the best intentions, I'm just trying to be a better person so I can be a better person in the world. Yeah.
Yeah. Wonderful. So as a highly sensitive man, what signs can you share with our young sensitive males who are dating, but they're dating someone who is mentally not healthy, and they feel over responsible to save them,
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah. Well, first of all, I would read up on narcissistic personality disorder and borderline personality disorder, because those are the two types we tend to attract. Just because, I don't know, I just think they're attracted to our empathy. But one thing is, I have this rule of threes, I call it. So if someone lies to you once, like, that's a red flag. If they lie to you twice, you're going to have to talk to them about it. If they lie to you 3 times, that's a pattern. And it's probably not worth being in the relationship. So I look for patterns. That's a big one, because people can say whatever, but what they do is what matters. So look for unhealthy patterns. And usually anything that's 3 or more is never going to change. So if there's a pattern in your relationship that you don't like, be willing to walk away. That's another thing, is we tend to stay in relationships too long. Like, I think it's worth trying to work things out, but again, like patterns, I stayed in relationships years longer than I should have, because like narcissistic type people, and they don't want you to leave, right? Because they want to keep you, because you're their supply. Like, you're providing them with all this free therapy and love and all the stuff that we bring to the table. We're good listeners. They don't want to lose you. So right when you're about to walk out the door, they'll say, oh, I'll change. And then you come back, and that's one thing I've learned, is not everyone is healthy, and not everyone is as empathetic as we are. Some people are just the opposite. They don't have any empathy, especially the more narcissistic types. But yeah, I would say I don't tolerate any teasing, name calling, and she would have to appreciate my high sensitivity and not try to change it. Like, my girlfriend, she loves the fact that I'm HSP, which is kind of weird to me, because not weird, but I've never had one appreciate my sensitivity before. Like I've never had a girlfriend.
Yeah, that's
I've actually been teased for it. They would call me like weak or I don't know. Yeah, I would like try not to show emotion around like ex-girlfriends because I sensed they would see it as weakness, and some did, but being with the highly sensitive woman, she's like the opposite. The more vulnerable and sensitive I am, the more she's attracted to me, which that's a new one to me. So, but that kind of goes into what you asked, and what I'm saying though is like, if you have to hide your sensitivity, you're probably in the wrong relationship. Yeah. Yeah. Um, I also, I don't think we have as many relationships as like non-HSPs. Since we're rare, I feel like the people that are compatible with us are kind of rare too, but that's okay. Like it's okay to be single. I've been single for years at a time. Like, but because I'm picky and um, I'm looking for someone that's sensitive to that kind of thing. But when it's right, it's awesome. So, but we have a different experience in life, highly sensitive people. Yeah. But I'm trying to think of other warning signs. Relationships. Yeah,
sometimes
just
you don't get the warnings. Sometimes you're just in
yeah.
a friend zone.
Oh, the friend zone thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
The friend zone to me, yeah, I've been in the friend zone before. So to how I define the friend zone is you might be friends with a woman, but you want to, as a guy, you want to be more romantically involved. But she doesn't either know it or doesn't want to be. So there's really two ways to stay out of the friend zone. The best way is never to end up there in the first place. And how you don't end up in the friend zone is you make your intentions clear up front. So like when I met my current girlfriend, pretty much the first couple times we talked, after I told her I was like kind of attracted to her, I told her like I already want to be like more than friends here. Like that's my intention. And she was like, okay, yeah, me too. So we kind of got it out of the way early. Where I think a lot of HSP men, there's a way to like they might think if they're friends with a woman first, and there's nothing wrong with being friends with women. Like I just said, I have plenty of women friends. But if you use friendship as a covert way to try to flip it to romance later, like if that's kind of a shady covert contract. So that's really it, is like just state your intention early. Like that's really it. Oh, and then some women will keep you in the friend zone because they just want the free attention. And so I tell guys like, oh, if that's all you're in it for, like she might give you false hope. But that's kind of like a dirty game that some people can play, but they just leave, it's the friend zone to me is not just being friends. Like if both people know we're just friends here, that's fine. But the friend zone is when there's somebody in the relationship has a different expectation of where this friendship is going to lead. Yeah, but yeah, the easiest way, like I said, is just to kind of have the confidence up front to like kind of let the woman know, like, I like you more than friends, like pretty early zone. Cause she might really think you're just friends. Like, oh, I've been in the friend zone where, I thought, well, I really like this woman. Or even when I was younger, if I'm just super nice to her, she'll fall in love with me. But she doesn't, I haven't really done anything other than just be nice to her. And
Or
yeah.
that another guy who comes along.
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah. So that happens that's happened to me a few times where I'm kind of waiting for this magic to happen where she's going to magically fall in love with me because I'm her friend. But in the meantime, some other guy that's more assertive and had made his intentions known comes in and maybe asks her on a date, and they end up in a relationship. And, I get a phone call, 2 weeks later that, hey, Steve, I'm in this relationship with this new guy. And I'm thinking, oh, that was supposed to be me, so
Yeah.
I missed out, like not.
How does it feel for you as a highly sensitive man when you hear that?
Well, I thought I used to be mad because I would think, well, I was right here. Like, how can she date this guy when I was right here? Like, I'm this great guy. But now I see that part of it was my fault because I really did. I wasn't clear with like what my intentions were. So, but I felt bad. I missed out on a lot of relationships like that. That was sort of my pattern when I was younger, because I didn't really know how to, like, I didn't know how to date. Like I thought, because I've always been friends with women, and I know women, since I've been women's friends a lot, they tell me all their, they'll tell me about their relationships with these jerks and these really mean guys. And so I always tried to not be like that. Like I tried to be super nice, and, but I was almost like too passive. So it was like, I tell guys, like, if you like someone, you go tell them, it's nothing wrong. But you also have to have the core and the self-love to take the rejection, because she might say like, I just see you as a friend. And that's like, okay, cool. We can just be friends. No problem. Like, it's not that difficult actually, but we kind of make it out to be this big thing in our head. But yeah, so you have to have enough self-love to be able to take the no, but yeah, which is fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that goes back to the self-love and the working on self. That is everything. It's all about kind of filling in those holes and those gaps that maybe growing up, all this dating stuff almost comes naturally. Once we fix ourselves, all that other stuff is actually a lot easier. I don't know. I found it to be, because you don't care about the outcome as much. Like, I don't need this relationship to feel good about Steve. So I can go ask this girl like, hey, you want to go out? If she says no, it's like, okay, I still love myself. Like, yeah. Literally, it means it's zero impact. Where when I was younger and I was more neurotic, and it would crush me. I was so nervous. I was always nervous because I didn't really understand who I was. Yeah. So that's why you're complete in who you are. And some people aren't going to like you. That's the other thing. A lot of guys feel like they get so bummed out but some people just don't, it's just the vibe's not there, and that's okay too. They'll get mad because like, oh, these girls don't like me. It's like, well, you just haven't met one yet that likes your vibe. So yeah, that's okay. Yeah.
Okay. I was just thinking about your daughter. That's so nice that her highly sensitive father is talking about this.
Yeah. No, she's definitely HSP as well. And yeah, I want good guys in the world for her, but I also want her to understand what a good guy looks like too. Like, what to look for. I'll definitely be teaching her a lot of the stuff, what to look out for, kind of thing. Yeah, I feel like HSP men, our probably biggest problem in the dating world is we're just not assertive enough. Like, we're kind of passive. We're kind of sit there. And so these more aggressive, narcissistic type men, they're just going up. Like, if I go to a party or even a bar, say, I might talk to, a few women there. Some of these guys, they'll talk to every woman there. They don't care. To them, it's just so they're so aggressive. And I'm not saying we need to be like that, but a lot of it is we're almost just, if there's a woman you like, go ask her out. Like, that's what I tell, don't be so passive. It's like, be a little assertive. It's cool.
Take up more space.
Yeah, we need to be more visible. Because even my girlfriend, I was like, I asked her about this. I'm like, how come all these non-sensitive, because a lot of women are sensitive women. They want to be with sensitive guys, but she's like, where are you guys? I'm like, we're out here, but we're kind of not visible because a lot of us are introverts. So we don't have a high it's just hard. We're hard to find. We don't find each other because there's all these other people in the middle, like kind of distracting us, non-sensitive people. So, yeah, it's like be more out there, in the world. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing, Steve.
Sure.
I like that it's practical, down to earth, and our sensitive male youth can learn so much from all the things that you've shared.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, thank you. I hope I made sense and I said something that somebody could use. But
and how can people contact you? How can they find you?
Okay. Yeah, just go to the hspexperience.com, and I have a forum there that people can talk to other HSPs. It's a pretty big community. We help each other out. You just talk about our HSP experience. And then I have a podcast by the same name, the HSP Experience. But you can get to all that from the website. You can contact me also on the website if you have any questions or whatever. Somebody wants to deep dive on anything I talked about. But yeah, that's pretty much the main way. Oh, I'm on Instagram too at the HSP EXP.
Okay.
I don't use it that much, but I'm there too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for sharing.
Okay. Yeah, for sure. Thank you. I'll see you around. Hopefully talk again soon. I'm a highly sensitive man.